Greetings everybody, it's Rob and I'm back with another monster discussion for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And this one's going to be an interesting one because I've kind of talked a bit about something similar to it, but a bit different. And this week's monster is the Alchemical Golem. Now I know I've made a video discussing golems and kind of the pros and cons about golems and how they are kind of handled in 2nd Edition. I wanted to specifically call out this one in a separate video because it's an interesting monster that I don't really, when I got to use it, was quite different than the other ones. And the reason for this being, it works a bit more different than what you would assume. So I'm going to pull it up and discuss it a bit. And the way it works is, it is a golem, it's a CR9 creature. So decent stats. It's immune to mostly everything because it's a construct. It has resistance of 12, physical 12. And it has, essentially the way it works is its body is filled with different alchemical chambers inside it. And each chamber does a different effect. One does acid, cold, electricity, fire, poison, and then the last one causes sickness. And the way these work is it can actually, using different syringes in its fingers, it can kind of stab people with, filling it with one of the chambers randomly. So every time you hit, you have to roll a d6 to see what chamber actually gets filled in. And it can also do a bomb technique where it actually fills up a chemical bomb with one of the chambers and then throws it as an actual range attack using that specific element. Now what makes it interesting and kind of adds an element to this is what the special ability called Alchemical Rupture. So what this does is, if the golem is hit by a shatter spell, which it's vulnerable to, or it takes a critical hit physical damage, or physical damage hit that's a crit, you actually will shatter one of the chambers inside its body, causing the liquid to spew out. And if it's one of those, different element types, it does 10d6 damage in a 5-foot burst all around it. Now, why is this interesting? Well, its AC isn't terribly high. And if you have a strong martial caster, they could crit it pretty easily. And if they start critting it, it's just going to do 10d6 AoE damage each time it hits. And that can actually start to add up. So it's this one thing where I actually ran a few of these for my party, and they surprisingly were in this weird situation where they didn't know what they wanted to do, because they were like, okay, we want to do damage to this creature, but we don't want to crit it, because if we end up critting it, it's going to explode on us, and if it explodes on us, then we take a lot more damage than we would normally. Now these things aren't terribly hard, so you can put 2 or 3 of them in the same room and it would be kind of too bad. It wouldn't be that bad of an encounter. I would say give them some room because they're all large creatures. If it's a tight room, you want to at least give them some maneuverability in the chamber itself. And as far as other golem abilities, similar to anti-magic, it is harmed by sonic, healed by acid, slowed by cold. Now, talk about golems a lot. So this video is not gonna talk about the concept of golems and how golems have this very fine line between being pretty near unstoppable and pretty weak. The reason why I like the alchemical golem is it's harmed by sonic damage. Now, sonic damage is a type that I feel like doesn't get much love in most campaigns, most games. There's very little spells that actually do sonic damage. And as a result of that, it means that, your Ray of Frost, your Acid Blast, all those don't actually do much to it. Yes, the Ray of Frost will slow it. That's good. That will definitely keep it kind of crippled quite a bit. But, unless somebody has a sonic weapon or some sort of way to give themselves sonic damage like a bard, then you don't have to worry about taking that, 5d8 damage, taking whatever the damage is for the particular golem. And that's good in the sense that this golem isn't non-unstoppable. I know I talked about in my golem video, kind of like the adamantine golems and some of these big golems that if you don't have the weakness that they have, they'll just run over a party. This one I don't think is the case, especially with the fact that if you crit it on a physical hit, it'll break one of the chambers. I'm assuming your hit will do more than 12 damage. If not, I don't know what that crit was. But that ability, being able to kind of weaken its uses of different chambers, is an interesting one and a very new one, and a very cool one, I gotta say, of how to handle the situation. Now, where would you use an alchemical golem? Well, few places you could think of. Obviously, any sort of labs, alchemical labs, mad scientist labs, those kind of places would definitely be good for an alchemical golem. Even kind of maybe clockwork type situations where there's a lot of like golems and constructs being used. Having this golem that's essentially a alchemical golem walking around could be a nice touch. Another one, and this is the one that actually was what I played through, is that not just alchemical labs, but poisoners can use them as well, because they're obviously poisons. They have their own kind of lab, if you will. So having these as kind of guardians to protect certain areas will help kind of shield and give them an extra line of protection, even including them in battle. Because if you can maybe include them in the same battle as an alchemist throwing bombs, or maybe you have some alchemical golems down in one area, then maybe you have a few enemies up on like the catwalks of the room, and they have like crossbows or bows, and they can kind of pelt the players from up above while they're dealing with these alchemical golems down on the main floor. So these are a few different ways of how you can work an alchemical golem into a battle. Are they my favorite golem? No. Do I like them a lot? I do. I definitely like them a lot. And I feel like that before I ran into them, I ran into them during the Age of Ashes adventure path, I had never heard about this one. You hear about stone golems, you hear about flesh golems, etc., iron golems, all that. But you never really hear much about an alchemical golem. And I feel like this was a golem that needed to get some more love. The picture is really creepy as well. I'll have it up on the thumbnail as well as here in the video. And you can see it's a creepy looking thing. You throw this little image up on the virtual tabletop or however you play your game, the player's gonna be like, what in the world is that? That looks creepy, but also strangely cool at the same time, you have to admit. That being said, I hope you guys have been enjoying these monster videos. I know I've been getting some feedback about them. People have been liking them. Kind of focusing it on Pathfinder 2e monsters. Most monsters that don't get as much love as like maybe 5e does. And I'm always down to talk about monsters. If you have any monsters you want to talk about, let me know in the comments down below. I'll definitely check them out and maybe even make a video about those specifically instead of perusing through all the bestiary books. While you're down there, be sure to like this video and subscribe if you have not already. Your subscription means the world to me, so if you can subscribe, that would be amazing. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you are enjoying these Pathfinder 2nd edition videos. Thank you.